What is this? Clean it up now. Right, you don't want to work? Go corner yourself. Immediately. Yeah, and stay there. Hey guys, once more we're gonna tackle the subject of cleaning. And it's only excited because something else gonna do the cleaning for us while we're just sitting back, relaxing and enjoying our time. And this time, thanks to yeedi. Yeedi vac station to be precise. And the vac station is something I wanted to get for a while. I already own two Xiaomi robotic hoovers. One for upstairs and one for downstairs that also does the mopping, where my wooden panel floors are that require mopping. But one of the most annoying thing was that every 2 to 3 cleans I would have to crawl underneath the piano and empty the vacuum. It was getting full very quickly due to the large cleaning area.
Starting charging.
As the name suggests, yeedi vac station is, well, a cleaning station. It means that after robotic vacuum went for trips and done all that cleaning, it will just climb on its charging dock and then the station will empty it for you. You'll still have to tackle the bag, but let's face it, with that size of a bag, you probably will have to do it every 10 to 15 cleans at best, which is probably around 2 months, and that's alright. But first things first. Let's unbox this, because there's a lot of different boxes inside and I wanted you to go through this experience as well. At least I hope it's pronounced yeedi. It sounds like a pet. Yeedi, come here. They are pets really, just robotic ones. There's lots of boxes inside, so we're gonna just take them out, make some space. Look what's inside. I'm curious for once. Well, the heck. It's a lot of boxes, yeedi. And a dock. And everything. Next up, this one. Yes, it is. You alright? And the star of the show, the yeedi 2-in-1 vac. It looks like a Pokemon. Oh, look at this. That extends. No, it's actually quite flat. Camera up. So just look through this, so it's just a thumping one. Well, we're gonna find out. And charge itself, yeah. So it's like this. Sorted. And this is like a ramp. And this is obviously the mop, which goes here. Right, see you in a week. I'm just gonna start using this. To be fair, I was really surprised at the size of the box, but everything was really nicely packed and separated inside, and the packaging was fairly environmental friendly, so I don't have anything to say about it other than well done. Just like my Xiaomi from downstairs, yeedi is a mop and vac station. It means that we'll go around the carpets, do the vacuuming, and then it will mop your floors as well, getting rid of those nasty stains. That's nice because, well, it's gonna go where the kitchen is. So the entire package consists of the station, which acts as a dock, and a regular vacuum. You'll have to plug that to the mains. The only problem I take with the station, apart from the fact that it's a bit chunky, is the fact that it doesn't come with a container for all that dust. You've got those not reusable bags that you'll have to replenish after a while, and that's the only issue. I'd rather have a container that I can just remove empty, clean it and put back together. Much more environmentally friendly. The vacuum itself is cool as well. You have to open it up to turn it on and initially to connect it. It's very easy. Once connected to your Wi-Fi, it uses 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, you'll be ready to go. Now I had a firmware update first to go through, but that's to be expected on the devices like this. I'm glad to know they're looking after the firmware too. Apart from the typical container for the dust, which is removable, you won't have to do it because you have a vacuum station, so that's kudos. You have just a tiny little brush with a knife to clear the hair from the main brush, and a couple of spares just to keep you going. Now the app provides you with the usage statistics, so you'll know where you need the spares. Now, as this is a mopping platform, it also has a water container with a mop, and this is something I really like because unlike with my Xiaomi ones, it's very easy to remove the container with water and you can clean it without it. I literally don't have to even open the vacuum to do it. That was an annoying process in Xiaomi. I thought they would handle it better, but for some reason, Yeedi figured out how to do it properly. I like it. And the best part is, if you don't mop it, just grab it at the back and remove it and you are sorted. The vacuum can operate without that add-on. The main difference, however, between this vacuum and the Xiaomi vacuums I've got is the fact that it uses a camera. But don't worry, it's not one of those IP cameras. It's a special system that doesn't intrude your privacy, so you won't feel like the vacuum is spying on you and, well, shoots very unfortunate double chin pictures from the bottom. But, yeah, it uses a camera to kind of photograph stuff above it and range the distance, etc, etc, instead of LiDAR. I really like the LiDAR system because it creates beautiful maps and it was, well, very intuitive. I'm gonna touch on mapping in a second. But first let's talk cleaning performance. One of the biggest advantage of having a vac station like yeedi is the fact that every single time you're gonna send your vacuum for a clean, it will be sucking at full power because the container is empty, nothing is blocking it, and as long as you clean the filter from time to time, you're gonna have a full potential of your hoover to your disposal. Which isn't the case if you're using the ones that you have to empty, unless you empty them every single time. Let's face it, you don't. I know you don't. So that results in really clean floors. In my torture test, when I just sprayed some starch on the carpet, starch is very fine and difficult to remove, it actually handled it pretty well. I could see a tiny little bit left, but honestly, that's to be forgiven. In reality, all the dust on the carpet is not going to be as persistent as starch, so you don't have to worry about it. In that regard, it's a plus. Granted, from time to time you'll have to flip the vacuum belly up and get rid of all the hair and wherever it's gonna attach itself to the brush, but that's to be expected on every model and obviously depends on what kind of dust and dirt you have on your carpet. I keep it relatively clean. In terms of the speed of the cleaning, it's about let's say about 1 square meters per 90 seconds, which is a tiny little bit slower than my Xiaomi vacuums, but fast enough. Overall, the cleaning was only 5 minutes longer than for Xiaomi vacuums, and that wouldn't bother me at all. After going through my cleaning routine, I got the battery down to 50%, and since my cleaning is around 33 to 38 square meters, the battery is gonna last around 60 meters before the vacuum has to interrupt its cleaning process, go back to the charge, and recharge. The recharging takes around 2 hours, and if the clean isn't complete, the vacuum is clever enough to figure out that chores aren't done and needs to be done again. So, carpet cleaning is kind of discussed. Let's talk about dealing with floors. While hard floors are easy to sweep because there's nothing stopping or gripping that dust, they're a nightmare to clean when it comes to anything that is spilled. So I figured out I'm gonna make some spillages. So I accidentally spilled some milk and coffee and soya sauce and jam and ketchup and even a broth. That was a good broth. Just to see how my vacuum's gonna tackle that nightmarish soup. So yeah, I was genuinely surprised while it just went through it, leaving not a single spot. Granted, it took him a couple of passes to find every single spot and kind of organize itself, but it did a good job. And even going around the corners on the hard floor was decent enough. Now, it's true, it's gonna leave a mark or two, but let's face it, robotic vacuum cleaners aren't there to replace the entire cleaning process. On average, when I clean, I use the robotic vacuum hoovers for about a month, maybe 6 weeks, and then do just a manual general cleanup to make sure all the corners are done and everything is done manually as well to keep the flat tidy. And yeah, it works quite well. Both cleaning modes are available with different degrees. Now for vacuuming you have 3 degrees of noisiness really, or strength of your vacuum, and at the quietest it's actually very quiet. Although I don't know how much sucking you get. To be honest, for my cleans I run them at 100% because I usually run them on the weekends when I'm either away or early in the morning, and the noise doesn't bother me that much. When it comes to mopping, we have 4 different mop settings, from slightly wet to very wet, and again, I use the maximum because, well, if you're gonna do it once a week, why not? Another good thing is traversing. This thing is strong and can climb. In fact, it climbs easily on one of the doormats that my Xiaomi did struggle a little bit. In fact, this thing is a tank, which also goes against him. You should be ashamed. That's 7 years of happiness right there. Bollocks. Now the question I have to answer is, if he breaks the mirror, is it me or him that is getting 7 years of misfortune? I really hope it's him. Enough about hardware, let's talk about smarts, because obviously it's a smart cleaner, so it comes with an app, and this app connects to Google Home and Alexa, so you can finally use voice control. No, you can't. Well, you can use the voice controls, but you only have 2. You can either turn it on or turn it off, which is gonna either run a default cleaning program or return this vacuum to the station. And this is such a missed opportunity, because the only reason I can think of to run those is to either perform a spot cleaning or individual room cleaning. And it just annoys me that it isn't implemented, because who wouldn't like to say, hey bad boy, clean the kitchen, and have it done with? Instead of, you know, going through the app and selecting Arya and doing all that stuff, which is not smart. But to be fair, the app is very clean, you can customize a fair bit, and I have no problem using it. It is dedicated to yeedi devices only, so you're not going to find smart bulbs and plugs and stuff like that. But that's okay. I don't have a problem with this because, to be honest, I run my smart cleaners on a schedule, and that's fine. If you want to have more elaborate stuff, you can always use either Google Home routines or Alexa routines to trigger it using different triggers. But yeah, that's what you get. But what really sucks is mapping. Coming from Xiaomi ecosystem, where their Hoover's using LiDAR to generate the maps, which is beautiful and nice and easy to understand, jumping into yeedi map, you start to look at this and scratch your head. This is not how my house looks like. I don't even know which room is which. And I don't understand. I do not understand how this robot is resolving this. And yes, I do keep it in an awkward position underneath the piano with lots of legs to avoid, and maybe that skews its original position. But the way it generates the terrain and assigns the room is a mystery to me. Granted, in all fairness, the yeedi resolves the paths well and cleans everything without any problems, but just looking at the position of the Hoover on the map and the position in your room, you kind of get really confused. And while Xiaomi would go all around the room first, doing all the corners and lines, and then fill that in with its movement profile, I can't figure out what yeedi is doing. And I believe yeedi can't figure out what he's doing. It appears that it moves randomly across until everything is clean, but it doesn't miss the spot. What makes it more confusing is the fact that yeedi does a really good job at returning to dock, while my Xiaomi did miss a couple of returns and then die out of charge. So I don't know how it is finding way home, but you can read that map, and obviously I can, but it ruins one of the really useful features. Now, one of the features that you can use is the ability to have a different cleaning layout for mopping, something that I was really asking for in Xiaomi ecosystem, because in my kitchen I have this mat and I don't really need that mat to be mopped. So I wanted to make an exclusive area from mopping, but include this area in cleaning. And the only way you can do it in Xiaomi ecosystem is to have completely different maps that you have to manually load. And that's not the way to solve it. And Yeedi has this option available, but finding the exact spot where that map is located, it's impossible. But at the same time, the Hoover is smart enough to recognize when it's no longer driving on a hard floor, and it shouldn't go on the carpet to start mopping. So I'm kind of split. What's going on in here? While I can't really figure out what's what on that map, I can take the Hoover, place it anywhere in a mapped location, and it will instantly pick up where it is and continues cleaning as usual. Which is, well, it's good, but I'd like to know what it's doing, right? One more thing that the Yeedi should improve. While you can name your rooms or areas, you can only assign the name from selected lists. I have a place that I call hall for all my automation. There is no hall in that list. Why? And I can't assign a custom one, and I'm really annoyed at this. So you're either gonna end up with custom names or letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc, etc. The app mentions that running the Hoover multiple times will improve the map accuracy over time, something that I didn't experience even though I was resetting map a couple of times. One of the things I'm not willing to do is to move the Hoover into a different location. Why? Because it's the Hoover that's supposed to hide somewhere and be invisible, rather than me trying to accommodate for the Hoover and place it in the middle of the room so it could rest in there. That's not going to happen. So overall, my impressions are actually good, because the Hoover does what it's supposed to do. It cleans quite well and it doesn't bother me very often, so that's a win. Now you have to answer the question whether the price tag of $470-ish justifies the inability to use advanced feature like different patterns for mopping, well, at least specified different patterns for mopping, and the lack of the ability to use the voice controls to do the custom cleaning, which is I really hope they're gonna tackle, because that would be such a useful feature. So shout out to Yeedi for sending me the Hoover so I could take a closer look and clean up my flat. Now I have 3 Hoovers to tackle entire house. Now all my areas are covered, so I'm really happy. So if you are interested and you're happy with how things are right now, maybe the software will change, fingers crossed for that, then the links to these vacuum stations are obviously in the description of this video. Now, if you want to know what I'm up to next, then, well, you know how YouTube works. I'm not going to explain all that. What I would encourage you to do, follow me on any given social media, where you're gonna get snippets of what I'm working on and what's gonna be coming up next. As for now, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.